Also, if you hear an intense, like, clawing at the door in the background, don't worry about it. It's my cat just aggressively trying to get into my room. So he likes
I think
to do
he
that.
should be allowed in.
I agree. An
I
essential
love,
part of the podcast.
I love letting him in. He just tends to come to the bottom of my chair and just meow. And then he starts meowing, and then the bird in the living room starts going off. It's a chain reaction.
I'm sorry, the bird gets upset when he hears the cat meow?
The bird, we have I have a cockatoo, Joy, and his name's Bentley. He's very, very adorable and scary.
I'm sorry.
No, it's great.
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. It's always a gamble. Anytime I bring up Bentley and mention he's a cockatoo, it's you either get that quiet that little nod, or they just say cock, and then everybody.
A cockatoo. Yeah, no. I'm being very mature about this cockatoo. That's great. What a great bird. What a great name for a
two
species.
dicks. You get it because it's got two in it and the word cock.
It's just like a peepee.
Or the booby. Bringing it back around, booby birds. Also, side note,
you can't
Booby
reference
bird.
something we said before the recording, Blake. That's not how this works.
Like Jane the booby from Sonic Riders.
Well, you're saying just because we're recording, AJ, I can't say the simple word booby?
Booby?
No, you're absolutely allowed to say booby and cock and whatever you want to say on the recording. The problem is that you can't be in here haha, remember that joke you made 20 minutes ago off mic, AJ?
Well, the episode hasn't started yet, has it? Man, that'd be a real hot start. Hello, everybody.
Hey, this is our cold open. We're talking about cock.
Cocks and boobies.
Joy, I need you to put your producer hat on with me right now.
Okay, all right, it's on.
Is there any way in hell we let that cockpit go on the cutting room floor?
No.
I don't think you can.
Hi, it's me, Joy. No, we're gonna keep the cockpit in.
You got to keep the cockpit.
I'm starting the episode now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Successor, a comedy video game design podcast where we take your horrible, nasty, cursed video game ideas from all over the internet. I'm your host, AJ Hart.
Hey, Joy, watch this. AJ, you want to talk about the cockpit again? Now that they know, it's because say be like, you have to leave it in because they're like, oh, you can't reference something that's not on the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's been in.
Everything's been in. Oh, I thought you were gonna I thought you were gonna cut it out because I didn't know if you were gonna leave the cockpit in or not.
The sync clap is probably not in, but again, the reason why I asked you two if we were leaving, you two both agreed that I couldn't leave the cockpit on the cutting room floor. I thought we were all on the same page that that's right. In the show.
It's in the show. It's in the show.
Blake, can you say your name so that I can introduce our guest?
Hello, I'm your other host, Blake Rhea.
And today we're joined by the lovely Joy.
Hi, I'm lovely.
You may know Joy from their Twitch endeavors, also on the podcast Deck of Friendship. Luckily, we've had a couple of great guests from that show of Ray, Joe, and Jupiter. Wow, I just blanked for
Which
a
means
second.
that as of this episode being over, we will have effectively trained all three of them to just take our show over and just steal it from us because they've all gotten the required training.
We're coming for it. We're coming for it.
AJ, you joke though, but I have thought long of man, it'd be kind of fun to just give the podcast to somebody for an episode and just see what happened. I would adore that actually. Because
it's underrated. It's underrated. Trading podcasts with someone for a day, so underrated. So much fun.
For those that are new to the podcast, we take your lovely ideas from the internet, either from Twitter, Reddit, or email. We haven't gotten an email in a little bit. Maybe that's a dying art. And we take those ideas.
That's because I just don't open that email box, bud.
Wait, what? They don't know.
I don't look at that email.
You don't look at the email? I check the email every Sunday. You're not doing your due diligence, AJ. We have a quota to keep. That one submission we get every 6 months or so, we got to be there for it. We got to keep our eyes open for it. And we take those ideas and turn them into the next AAA video game titles that hopefully we get to make one day. I don't know if we're going to make any of these one day. I definitely want to make oh god. What's that? Cut that part out. I'm not being funny right now.
No such thing as jokes.
The joy of editing. All right.
That's me when I edit stuff.
AJ,
Joey, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit before we get on to the real show?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Joy. Sometimes I stream, sometimes I don't though. And when I'm not streaming, I'm doing other stuff, like playing Sonic Riders.
Yes. The hit video game from 8 years ago? 10 years ago?
Probably more.
Is that Wii or GameCube? Like, that feels like a Wii era, because you have, like, the remote.
There was a Wii sequel, but it's a GameCube game.
Oh.
Now, you alluded that you're up to something tomorrow that is buck fucking wild to me, and I do want to talk about it a little bit. What are you doing tomorrow relating to Sonic Riders, the hit video game from 2000 and... 6?
Yeah, there's an online net play Sonic Riders tournament that I'm participating in, and I could not be more excited. I have never done a tournament before, but people watch me play Sonic Riders on Twitch.tv sometimes, and they're like, "Holy shit, you should play this competitively, or you should speedrun this." And I am learning to speedrun it actually, but.
How does one get to a tournament? Because I feel like you got to go to some, like a little underground basement on Discord and find just like a chat room full of 200 people that are addicted to this game. Be like, hey, we're gonna do a tournament, right? Is that like?
Well, it's kind of funny how it happened. I streamed Sonic Riders a ton last year because that's when the dub was being made and it was just like fresh on the brain, and so I was like. I was playing it all the time anyways, and I was just so into it. I was so into Sonic Riders at the time, and I was streaming it a bunch. And the owner of the Sonic Riders competitive Discord, I guess, would frequent Twitch and like go into people's chats who were playing Sonic Riders and be like, "Hey, do you know we're making a tournament edition mod that you can play?" And it's like all
he's out there
kinds
scouting.
Of awesome...
Like
yeah, he's scouting
like a college
he's
scouting.
scouting
Players.
He's single-handedly keeping the Sonic Riders competitive scene alive and well.
And has
some might say
years.
Some might say there was no competitive scene before he started messing around with it. But yeah, there's like this whole tournament edition mod, and I got recruited.
Now,
what dedication to your game? I can't name any game director who gets in the thick of it like that, being like going out.
No,
like
they're not a director. They're just a fan.
They're just a fan? Oh, I don't.
Yeah, they're just a fan who made a Discord server and who made a tournament mod that they play.
Oh my god!
Online through like emulation and stuff.
So what kind of pro-strats have you been working on to make sure that you end up on top? You know what I mean?
Tell us about your lean game.
Are you working on like a cool drift tech? Or are you trying to...
Well, I'm working on my high jump shortcuts right now. I used to be like way better at them, but then I started doing like... I started learning the long jump shortcuts, which were my one weakness, but now I sort of traded, and now long jump shortcuts are pretty easy for me to do, but high jump shortcuts can sometimes be elusive. I'm also trying to work on my speed approaching. I'm working on my speed approaching the ramps right now, because it's very easy to sort of lose all your speed while you're preparing for a sick trick and a sick jump. So just try to figure out the best strategy to sort of get through that quickly.
What's some of like the slang that Sonic Riders use? Because like surfers have like the barrel, like or the Benny, or the beach break, the bomb. I'm not reading from a list of surfer slang here. I'm
gonna be real. I don't know. I haven't spent that much time in the competitive scene. I do know. Like the only quote unquote slang is like stuff that I just have been calling the wrong thing for years. Like the I call the there's like a power meter of like how much energy you have left in your board. And apparently it's called air. Like the power that your board uses is called air, but I have been calling it juice for forever. I also this is not just for Sonic Riders, this is for any Sonic game. I always call the rings coins, and it's not like I remember Penny played Sonic Riders on her Let's Play channel, and I co-commentated, and I kept on calling the rings coins, and people in the comments were like, I love how she's doing that just to like get under people's skin, and I'm like, I'm not they're just I see a collectible in a video game. It is a collectible collectible in a video game that is circle shaped. It's a hecking
I mean,
coin.
What a perfect brand you've culminated for yourself that when you're wrong about something, people are just like, "Ah, it's a goof." That rules.
Yeah, she's really trying to rile people up right now, huh?
Before we move on from Sonic Riders, I do have one quick major question about Sonic Riders, and I know that the dub just came out, so you might be a little bit more expertise to answer this question. Why does Sonic the Hedgehog, the fastest hedgehog, the blue blur, not simply hop off the board and race them on foot and win?
Oh, actually, okay, so first of all, the dub actually came out last year, so it's definitely not a recent thing.
It's
so
always
to answer
AJ
the
just showing
question,
his
yes.
lightning social media.
It was
just
a
watching it like a
goof.
hawk.
That was a goof.
It's a goof. Okay, to keep it in theme, I get it. I get it.
So I have two working theories. So the first, for the reason Sonic doesn't just run around on the ground, is because the ramps in Sonic Riders maps do not have like those like boost pads that you often find in ramps in Sonic games. Like they don't just like launch him to the next platform. You actually need like a skateboard to do those fun little tricks and whatnot. And then my second working theory that sort of, I think, bolsters this one in a big way is that riding around on magic flying skateboards is kick-ass, and if they didn't do it, the game would be shit.
Hey, I'm looking at the image, the cover art for this, and something I'm blown away by. Sonic in this game, and also Jet the Hawk. They both have goggles. Neither one of them have the goggles over their eyes while they're zooming around super fast.
Purely aesthetic, AJ. It's purely aesthetic.
Some characters do wear the goggles during races. I don't think Sonic does. I think that Sonic.
He's too cool for school. Wait, does he wear them on his head or around the neck? Because I think around the neck is like
on his
ultra
head.
fashion. All right. Don't like goggles around the neck as fashion, or goggles on the arm is also another good one. I don't know. I feel like I've gotten all my aesthetic
actually,
choices.
I still have the game open. I can tell you if he's wearing the glasses.
Oh yeah, hook us up with that.
Yeah, here.
No, they would be too small on his big eyeballs.
Wait a second. Hold on. Doesn't he have some sort of like one? Like he has one eye that has like the little patch above his nose that connects the two eyes. How do you wear goggles with that? Do you have to wear like a full
your forehead like a fashion accessory?
No,
look at the
saying,
image. Look at the fucking picture.
Like legitimately, like wear them like over the eye. Is there like just a little bit of like a little tongue of eye that is getting air?
Man, Sonic's weird. I will say no. He does not wear the goggles while he races.
Well,
they just AJ, stay on his head.
AJ, you got
I'm sick of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I would like to start the podcast now. For realsies. Do the thing that we came here to do, and that's make horrible video games.
Okay. All right. Hook us up, AJ.
Are you prepared to help us with this endeavor?
Oh, I feel like I was born to do this.
All right.
I was born to make bad video games. I will find the low-hanging fruit, and I will jump for it.
Well, then let's start this off with a banger. Let's make sure that there's no low-hanging fruit. You're going to be way over the top of those ones. This comes from AlleyCat on Twitter, @MillenniumHooHa. Godzilla basketball. Need I say more?
AJ, you took my nug. I was going to bring that one like late game. Like the clock is ticking.
That's... First of all, love it. It reminds me of that like Xbox game, like the original Xbox game, where you like it's like a fighting game with Godzilla monsters, and you're in a big city, and you're like knocking over buildings and stuff while you fight the other monsters. I'm imagining that
video game.
I'm imagining that just with a basketball.
Here's the thing. Okay, so when I saw the submission, my first thought was, okay, it's a game of basketball. Obviously, you have your team of kaiju that are going up against another team of kaiju. Could you do basketball, but there is an element of there's like two ways to win. Like that one, what's that one competitive game? I think it's called Queen Bee or like some Queen Hive or something where there's like
you're talking about the 8-player joust?
Yes, and there's multiple ways to win a game of that. So could you do, it's a game of basketball, but there's also, if you destroy more of the city than the other team, is that another way to win? And also, is different kaiju have different, like, destruction abilities, or is there different,
I'm going to say no. Destroying the city does not get you more points, and here's the big reason why. We're out here, we're playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sportsmanship thing. Like, you have to be a good sport about this. And I think that just property damage is unsportsmanlike. We can agree on that, right?
I actually don't agree with that. I'm gonna tell you where I thought this was going. I thought that you were going to say that you don't get extra points because destroying the city is already inherent to the process of kaijus playing basketballs. And so there's no reason to start giving handouts to people who are just doing what they need to do. I personally think that, like, if you're playing basketball and you're a kaiju and you're in a big city, like, trying to beat the enemy team of kaiju, I think that you should sort of go out of your way to make sure to just flatten everything in sight. Maybe shoot some lasers around and stuff. Can I ask a question that's burning in my mind really quick? Do they have jerseys? Can they wear jerseys? Can they wear big kaiju jerseys?
Of course they have jerseys. They have basketball shorts, the most important thing of basketball.
Godzilla in basketball shorts.
This brings up a great question, because in the image that's in the submission, it actually has Godzilla in, like, Nike tennis shoes. So I'm wondering, is there a pre-game thing where you actually get to dress up your kaiju?
Oh,
and depending
damn,
on
those
how
are
you dress,
Nikes. They got a swoosh and everything, huh?
Yeah, it's
kaiju dress up game. Kaiju dress up game. Kaiju dress up game.
Could you do a kaiju dress up game that's all sports themed? So you pick their jersey, you pick their colors, all that stuff. Does that have any impact on the game, or is it just you get to dress up a kaiju and it's fucking sweet, and then you play basketball?
Yeah, the impact on the game is that it's fucking sweet. That's it.
Simple mechanics, just fucking cool.
This reminds me, what if we just did take, like, the entire, like, concept and build of, like, the NBA 2K career mode games where you can create your own, like, athlete, your own team, and send them through a career. Except instead of, like, 6-foot-tall athletes, it's 120 billion foot tall giant monsters.
Real quick question,
I'm here
though.
for it.
Is the team copies of the same kaiju? Or is it like you can pick different kaiju with different sort of ability? Like, I'm picturing.
You start
like,
with one kaiju, you customize. I will say that, like, there would be, of course, a mid-season draft where you could draft your. Of course, your kaiju could also be drafted, but you could also draft your other kaijus out there.
I think that having copies of kaiju isn't nearly as sportsmanlike as we want to go for here. I think that there should definitely be like a sort of like backyard basketball kind of rules where, like, you know, everyone gets to pick one person for their team at a time. And then of course Mothra gets picked last every time, not because like they're great. Everybody loves Mothra, you know, they're wonderful, but, like, then how are they going to throw a basketball, really?
Yeah, no, they're going to get blocked every time. You know what's so funny is a lot of the big titular King of the Monsters, I'm realizing, would be actually really bad at basketball. Like, King Ghidorah would suck shit. You know that their dribbling game
it's King Ghidorah. Isn't it Ghidorah, not Ghidorah? I'm so confused on the name. You and I talked about that.
You're really
going to
fuck me over over pronunciation on this?
I'm trying to figure out if it's King Ghidorah or King Ghidorah. I don't know. I want to know. I'm so curious about it.
I think it should be Queen Ghidorah.
Queen Ghidorah? Okay.
Hell yeah.
Of course, King Kong would be so good at basketball. Like, it's unreal.
Oh god,
right?
yeah, no. Like, King Kong is like the like Super Smash Brothers Brawl Meta Knight, like just completely busted beyond belief. They have to ban King Kong from tournaments. They're never going to nerf him. They're never going to nerf him. They're never going to patch him out. Nothing.
You know what I loved about the idea of this kaiju-based sports game is I'm really interested in how we can translate star power into this. Are you two familiar with specifically what star power is within sporting events?
Nope.
No.
So, as I understand it, if I'm wrong, somebody will tweet at me about it on Twitter. Star power was a thing that was affiliated in basketball specifically because the athletes there have a level of actual star power, to the point that, let's say a ref sees them make a foul and the ref calls them, the audience would be outraged. You can't foul LeBron. You can't foul LeBron. What's wrong with you? To the point that, like, referees would stop calling fouls on certain athletes because doing so would cause so much of an outrage that it wasn't worth the hassle.
That it distracts from the game.
Actually, distracts from the game.
Can
so
I pitch you?
Star power is the level of a referee being like, he's allowed to do that. What am I gonna do?
Can I pitch you something on that? Because that brings up something really interesting. So we were talking about the competitive scene with Sonic the Sonic boarding game. I'm wondering
Sonic Riders, please.
if you could do a competitive scene, and depending on the star power of the competitive scene, that affects the game itself. So it'll be like, hey, a certain player is playing with, let's say, Mothra.
Are you
and
proposing that Joy just hacks into Sonic Riders and the Twitch chat cheers the whole time and Joy wins?
I do want to say I did have a very weird experience today because there's a tournament going on right now, and I just popped into the Twitch chat because basically the reason I rejoined the Discord and I'm getting into this whole like tournament scene is because I recently had like a reignited interest in Sonic Riders because Mar started playing it and we started doing net play and stuff, and I was like, oh, you know what? I could totally like start looking into tournaments and stuff. I don't think I'll win because all these people are like professional speedrunners and stuff.
But if you cheat.
But I got into the
Star power.
I got into the Twitch chat, and like two of the announcers were like, "Oh my gosh, it's famous VTuber MarbleCantus," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Stop that! Stop that!" So they're gonna let me win tomorrow. I'm hoping.
Joy, get a Game Shark. No one's gonna call you on it.
Yeah, I'll get me a Game Shark. I'll get a Game Shark. I'll turn on big head mode for Jet the Hawk.
Game Shark is
That's all I'll do.
totally the
It's
name
just
of the
cosmetic.
kaiju, by the
It's
way.
just cosmetic choices.
So
All right.
I also know that there's like a guy in the tournament scene who's been there for a while, I guess, and they like play Ai, the monkey from Super Monkey Ball, and their like username handle is Thanos. And
But
so
he's
in the
not
tournament
on a board.
edition. Yeah, well, they gave him a board, and then when he uses his boost, then he's in a ball that he rolls around in.
Excellent.
He but yeah, this guy who plays Ai goes by Thanos, I guess, and I watched the tournament today, and there was a reskin of Ai to make him look like Thanos. Like they put that into the game for him. I think that's delightful.
That's the star power we're talking about.
Exactly, Thanos has star power in the Sonic Riders competitive scene. He's perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Okay, I want to put a pin in this. I don't even know if this deserves a pin. I think we got lost. Let's go to another submission.
Right,
Blake,
yes,
you got one?
my bad.
You know, I do have a
Don't be sorry. This is the art. Sometimes we take something, we look at it, we goof on it, we leave it. Not everything makes the cut.
Sure.
All right, this one comes to us on Twitter from Gazer @JustGazer. I literally just got the submission as we were recording. So, murder mystery game, but it's in Candyland. I want to do some sort of like Clue-esque game, but it is. I'm trying to figure out if it can take place in that one in the candy world of Wreck-It Ralph. I guess is the aesthetic of it. So I'm trying to figure out, is this
Stop, wait, hold on, time out.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a reference to Wreck-It Ralph?
I mean, it's not really a murder mystery in Wreck-It Ralph. Do you think?
No,
do you think somebody gets
You
murdered?
don't know what Candyland is?
Candyland, the board game.
Okay.
Were you gonna? Wait. Well, was there like? Did you think I didn't know
was
that
worried
the
that you didn't know
seminal
what
board?
Candyland was.
No,
I was worried you didn't know what Candyland was.
I feel like it's up there with like Monopoly is like one of the most that and like maybe Connect 4. Did you say
yes,
I'd say
of
Connect
course.
4 is
Okay,
like up there.
I just look. You were reaching for Wreck-It Ralph instead of Candyland, the fucking board game. Of course, I got worried.
I don't know. Like I feel like Wreck-It Ralph's pretty relevant. Like the candy level of Wreck-It Ralph, which is a racing game.
Right. The one that we all know the name of, but we're not saying for some reason, right?
For reasons. It's Sugar
Because
Rush.
we're definitely not talking about Sugar Rush, the game from Wreck-It Ralph, where they drive around on the track. We're not talking about the song by AKB48 where they say the name Sugar Rush over and over during the movie, right?
So it's a murder mystery in the world of Sugar Rush, Wreck-It Ralph, not Candyland. Fuck that board game.
Fuck Candyland. I'm done with the fucking licorice swamp or whatever it's called. Fuck that place.
We
Fuck
hate
Candyland.
Peppermint Larry. Peppermint Larry sucks shit.
Is
I
that his
never
name?
liked him. He always creeped me out.
Is that his actual
Peppermint
name?
Larry?
Peppermint
Let me-
Larry.
wait, let me see.
Here's the thing that AJ does. Sometimes
Larry.
he says things that sounds right, but I don't quite
Peppermint
know.
Larry's the guy from Flapjack.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh my fucking
it.
god. Candy Wife. Oh my god, I remember that dude.
Candy wife.
And who the fuck is it Peppermint Patty? Who's the person from Candyland?
Oh, hold on here. Let me
Oh
look it
my
up.
god. Yeah.
Candyland
It's Peppermint Patty, then it has to be.
character.
Yeah. No, Peppermint Patty's from Peanuts.
Oh, whoa.
There's
There's Lord Licorice, King Candy with a K, and then the peppermint dude's name is a mystery.
With a K, like
I
he's
don't
from
know.
fucking Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, yeah, King Candy's from Mortal Kombat. New seasonal
Princess
character.
Lolly,
It's
Lord Licorice, Princess Frostine, Grandma,
Grandma
Nut,
Nut.
King Candy, and Mr. Mint.
Mr. Mint might be it, right? I feel like that's.
Well, what's the name of this guy? I'm literally looking at a picture of all the characters. There's a man who looks like Where's Waldo Peppermint Boy. What is his?
Stop.
Oh, that's Mr.
They
That's
don't
Mr.
really-
Mint. That's Mr. Mint.
Mr. Mint.
That's
yeah, there
Mr.
we go,
Mint.
There we go.
That's him.
Okay.
It's Mr.
So-
Mint.
He doesn't
That's
have
way
the word
less
peppermint
creative
in his
than the
name
other-
anywhere?
But
Yeah, no, that's way less creative than any of the names that we accidentally thought was him.
So, okay, it's a murder mystery in the world of Sugar Rush. It's a good thing we went through all the Candyland characters because we fucking hate them. We're going to Sugar Rush still because there's cars. Unless we're interested in the Mortal Kombat Candy King guy.
Mortal Kombat Candy King?
Candy King in Candyland is spelt with a K.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which direction are you more interested in, Joy? A Sugar Rush, or a Candyland?
Well, what are we talking about here? So we're talking about Clue, right? Like a
Yeah, we're
murder
talking-
mystery.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Cause my brain is all about racing games here right now. So I'm thinking Sugar Rush, murder mystery Sugar Rush. I'm thinking there's some kind of crime scene and you have to figure out what happened while you're racing.
Okay. I love.
You're driving
this.
away from the
Perhaps-
crime scene with blood on your hands.
Okay. Do we want to have it be that you are racing away from the crime scene, or perhaps you are doing a race to get the best clues? Perhaps it starts as a race, and then maybe there's a second phase that feels like a whodunit mystery. You got to guess who did it right. But if you hit the laps first, you're going to get the best clue that says, no, it couldn't have been the king because he was here at this time.
Okay, here.
Oh, that's
Here's
rad.
what I've got. Here's what I've got. Dead by Daylight, but a racing game. One of them is the murderer. You don't know who it is, but they're like picking up blue shells and killing the other racers off one by one. And you gotta get to the end. You gotta make it, or you gotta solve the mystery. And then you could fight back against the racer who's killing everyone.
Real quick question though.
Dead by Daylight cart. Just call it Dead by Daylight cart.
So you're doing okay. So does that mean that? Because if it's just an out in the open track, I'm sure you would be able to kind of pinpoint who's the murderer. That's telling me that a lot of the track has to have areas where it's just like the track divides into multiple, or like there's like a bunch of like dark zones or something where murders can take place. So it's like you have to figure out like who the murderer is. But it's not. There has to be some areas where it's not clear. It'd be like. It becomes like a thing of Among Us. It's like, okay, who went to the right lane and what happened? Recall, like, where were you? Or, like, who was closest to that person or something like that. So it becomes like defending yourself, but also you're in the middle of racing.
Yes.
So does this turn into some wacky racer, speed racer type shit? Like all the abilities and stuff you get would be able to dash you from like one track to bounce you to a second track so that you aren't with the murderer if you suspect the racer you are with is the murderer?
AJ, the murderer by default gets the ability of the spy from Team Fortress 2 where they can like take the skin of any other driver. So they can like
love this.
You can imposter another car and murder somebody and frame it on somebody else. So like abilities like that, you thinking? Or it could be maybe there's like a delayed effect where it's like taking a poison where it's like, hey, you bumped them in the rear or something and they got poisoned, they die 30 seconds from now. So it's like you can set some traps or like other things for like people to hit it on the next lap. So that way there's like a little bit of a dance of like it's not easy to catch who the imposter car is or the murderer car or something like that. And
Okay. I have a possibility, and tell me how you two are feeling about this. What if we use the Mario Kart system of you being able to pick up items, but there are two pools of items. If the murderer hits one of those boxes that gives them an item, they get one of like 6 murder weapons, perhaps a timed explosive, perhaps a poison, perhaps a disguise. The survivors would then be given a randomized tool for safety. A jump, a bounce, an immediate break, something
like
to
maneuvering
close
like
the gap.
abilities.
Yeah. Or increase the gap.
Oh, interesting. So they get like
I
sort
like
of
this.
speed. This is really cool. And like
I would
so,
play this. And how about this? Everybody's on skateboards like Sonic Riders. Anyways.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody has a hoverboard. Everybody has a hoverboard. Everybody has a hoverboard. And it's got star power. Joy MarbleCantus is in the game, and she wins every round.
Of course.
Okay, so what happens if you get to the end of the race and didn't find the killer? Does the killer like win, or is it like a survivor thing of like if one car can make it to the end of the race?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, wait. What
Yeah,
about
that's like finishing tasks in Among Us. The killer isn't supposed to let people do that.
And okay, so like if we use Among Us as an example, like if somebody discovers the killer, do they have to make it to the finish line? And only at the finish line is when you can cast a vote. So you can't cast votes middle of the race. You have to actually finish the lap to contribute to a vote. So maybe
I don't know if I'm interested in the vote system. I think that the race is far more important. I do want to lean into
But what's the point of the killer?
Type.
What's the point of the killer then? Like if you find out the killer,
kill people
like
before they hit the finish line.
What do you mean?
Well, no.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is of course, yes, the killer is trying. That's it takes it from like a murder mystery to just an asymmetric like killing game. So I'm trying. Are we abandoning the murder mystery aspect, or is it going to be an asymmetric thing like Joy said, Dead by Daylight?
Racing, there's a level of anonymity that the murderer naturally gets.
What if it's all just really, really dark and you can't see shit?
Just a dark, gritty Candyland game where there's just like a bunch of pools of shadows.
The mystery of who the murderer is more so in the game design rather than it being a core action in the game.
And that's randomly selected at the beginning of the race, I would imagine, right?
Yes.
This actually reminds me of I had a very silly game idea when I was back in college that I was like it this is no AAA game idea. This is like you know what? If I ever decided to make games, this would be like the first one I would do, and it would probably flop, but it would be like fun to look back on. But the idea was, it starts off with like being like a little like multiplayer like versus platformer kind of thing. You pick like cute little animal characters, and you bounce around doing like little funny little challenges and stuff. And then the winner of those challenges gets specified points that go to a specific skill. Depending on what challenge they won and how they did in that challenge. And so they get skill points to determine like their like abilities, and then like halfway through, or it'll feel very abrupt, I guess, when you're finished with the mini games, the entire thing just like flips in tone and turns into like a third person multiplayer like horror game where you're like trapped in a labyrinth with all these other players, and then your skill points transfer over into your like abilities as these characters. And instead of being like little cute plushies, they're just like people, but they're wearing kigurumis of like the little like animals and stuff.
Yes.
And then you use your skills to like set traps or escape traps or you know, just try to figure out who's like there's like a I guess not like a main like antagonist, but there's like one like character in the mix that if you find them, you win the game. And like, yeah, like just weird stuff like that. I'm getting kind of
This game
nostalgic for
rocks. What are
something
you
I thought
talking
of, like,
about?
4
This
years
doesn't.
ago.
This doesn't
So,
feel like
these
a
mini
cheesy
games
game.
you're
This
talking
game
about, are they
sounds
something
rad.
like Mario Party?
Yeah,
Mario
like little
Party
Mario
mini
Party
games where
mini
you-
games. Yeah.
And what would be a close point of reference for the action part of the second half of the game?
Well, I guess something like it wasn't really a thing back then, but I guess like if I had to draw a comparison now, it would have been a lot like Friday the 13th. You know,
So like
sorta,
slasher sort of
running.
vibe.
Yeah, sort of a slasher vibe. Because like basically, you see another person in this labyrinth that you're trying to find your way through, and I kind of wanted to have like the same feeling of like, like you have no idea like what they're gonna do, what their strategy is, like it's basically like the horror
But
element
what
comes
you
in
do
that.
know is that they're very good at mashing the left bumper and then the right bumper
Right.
to inflate a balloon super fast.
Exactly. You just gotta like try to use your skill set to be the one that comes out on top. Like the horror element isn't about like avoiding like one big guy, like whatever the guy in Friday the 13th is called, whose names escapes me.
The horror is knowing that your buddy
Uh,
Keith is way better at mashing the A button than you.
Right. It's not one guy that's overpowered. It's like everybody has like a skill set that they built at the beginning of the game, and it's like, oh, are you gonna be able to like get past this guy? And are you gonna be able to do that with like a bunch of other players that are in the same map once you find them? And yeah, it's like competitive. It's like competitive in a way. But yeah.
I guess
That's
the real
rad.
gamification would be breaking down what sort of mini games would reference to what mechanics you had in the back end of the game.
Does the
Yeah.
mini game like mirror the survival? Like, is it
Yes.
like there are mini games in both areas, but it's like the same mini game just like reskinned, or is it like does it become a
Well,
completely different genre of
well,
a game during the survival?
it becomes a very different genre during the survival. It goes from like 2D side scroller like platformer game where you're doing all these cute little mini games, and then it's third person, just like 3D, like just like hyper realistic, and you're like crawling through traps and doing all kinds of crazy shit like Nathan Drake.
And it turns out that
all
that
fun
button
stuff.
mash mini game is also the same button mash to get your leg out of a bear trap.
Yeah,
situation.
something like that. Yeah. Oh man, I kind of want to start working on this again someday.
That'd be fun. I'd play it.
Yeah,
I mean, like the
I'll
yeah,
hold
what's
you
up?
to that.
I would legit play it. I would very much happily play it. I mean, heck, this is a game design podcast. If you want to workshop that right now, like this is the place we could do it. That'd be unique. We haven't workshopped like a guest person's game, AJ.
Is this a service you're interested in partaking in, Joy, or would you like to go to another submission?
Let's stick with the funny bits. I have a lot of fucking game ideas that I've accumulated over the years. So like, and some of them actually end up existing. Like I have wanted to make a game that is essentially exactly like No Straight Roads for decades. Not decades. I haven't been around that long. Like at least 6 or 7 years I've had an idea for a game that just ended up existing in No Straight Roads, and I'm like, oh fuck, here it is.
What's No Straight Roads?
Ooh. So No Straight Roads is a game that everyone should play. Everyone on the entire planet should play it because it's so good. It's an indie game, and it is about a city that has basically been taken over by an empire that consists entirely of EDM artists.
The worst kind of musicians, of course.
The entire city is ruled by EDM. And basically there's an energy crisis because they generate the city's energy with basically hype from concerts. And while EDM concerts were like huge for that at first, now that it's the only kind of music that the city has, it gets kind of stale and the energy starts to die down a little bit, and now their energy output's really shitty. But the EDM artists are hoarding all of the energy for themselves and the impoverished folks in the city don't get any energy at all, and their lights just go out and stay out. So then you have this like, they have this audition thing where like people can like try out to be a musician for NSR, which is the company that took over, and see how much sort of like hype they can generate. And if they can do enough, they can like join the ranks of the elites and stuff. And so these two characters, Mayday and Zook, join this thing as a rock band. They are like a rock duo. And
Hell yeah.
they do really well
game
in their
awesome.
Yeah, no, it fucking owns. It's one of my favorite games ever. But they like totally kill it at their tryout concert, which is basically like the tutorial level. But since they're rock and roll, they get kicked out, even though they generated tons and tons of energy from the audience. And then they ban rock and roll in the city. So the rest of the game is about going to the concerts of these like big elite EDM artists and crashing them with these big scale like boss battles. Just these
what?
massive fights where the music starts as EDM, and then as you start to turn the tides, it like mixes the two until like the rock side of it takes over.
Like, oh, that's rad.
Yo, this rules.
Yeah,
so
this
is
game
this
looks-
a
It's the
rhythm
best.
game or an action game? Like, what does this
Yes,
play like?
yes, it is.
Okay.
It is a rhythm
Fuck
game
yeah.
and an action game. It's so cool. It's so great.
I'm putting this in my wish list.
And one of the bosses is Giant Mermaid Miku, so it's real good.
Please tell me please tell me there's some sort of like dead mouse or marshmallow type
Yes,
boss that just
yes.
there it is. That's all we needed.
That's actually the first
And it's
boss.
co-op. Play it with 3 people.
Is like the first boss is like a guy who's like a DJ, but his head is like a planet, and like his entire thing is like galaxies and stuff. He like throws planets at you and everything. Oh, it's so rad! I want to play. Hey, I want to quick break. I'm gonna play NSR real quick.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll come back in like 2 hours.
Boot that up.
It
and
is.
play
It
through
is. You
again.
can play it with up to 3 people. Let's jam on it.
Yo, what? Why
Wait,
3?
3?
Yeah, co-op.
What do you mean 3?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it. It says no straight rows can be played single player or in co-op with up to 3 players.
3 players? Who would
Why
the third
3?
player be?
Yeah, that's I'm looking at an article on
Just
Nintendo
like the
World
hit
Report.
video game Battletoads.
Oh,
3
don't.
players.
Hey! Quick! Public service announcement. Don't get the Switch version. Apparently, it's super broken. Apparently, it barely works because they tried to take this game that had a lot of work and care put into it to run on like current gen consoles, and then they downscaled it really hard for the Switch, and apparently it does not run well.
Beans.
That is what I
Well.
have heard.
Going for the PS4 then.
Yes, that's where I got it.
You know what time I think it is?
What's
Time
up,
for
AJ?
crime.
For thought crimes.
Okay.
Blake, can you give me another video game? Or
I
is
gave
this
you the last video game, so brother, I think it's your turn.
My turn. All right.
We need another video game. We only
This
talked
comes-
like about 2. We only talked 2 of them. Well, 3 counting Joy's.
This comes from Reddit user unuggets1020, a game about speedrunning that you have to beat within a time limit. But the time limit is always the current world record.
That sounds like hell.
Oh.
That sounds like pure hell. As somebody who's never actually speedran a game before, that sounds infuriating. That means one person can win the game at a time.
So I do have exactly 3 instances of me, AJ Hart, thinking to myself, I could try to speedrun this. And those 3 incidences, one of them hasn't even happened yet. I just know me to a T. So there will be a third one within 2 weeks. The first one was Katana Zero. I played through it, beat it, then thought to myself, I'm going to try speedrunning this. I cleared it a second time, I got bored of it, and I moved on. Then I played Fury, also a very heavy action-paced, like synthwave-based music game with a lot of purple colors. That game fucking owns bones. Fury is one of my new favorite action games of all time. Played it, speed ran it, almost beat one of the devs' time speeds, moved on with my life.
Whoa,
The third one's
really?
going to be Hotline Miami because it is another synthwave-based purple-looking video game, and I know me, and I'm predictable.
Got addicted. Katana Zero started that
I don't
trend
even
for you,
like
didn't it?
Hotline Miami. I just know that my dumbass is going to get to the end of it and think, I could speedrun this, and I wicked can't. So, so at the bare minimum, I know that whatever this game is, it will look like that, TM. You know what I mean? Low-res, purpley synthwave music.
Yes.
But what's the game?
Okay, so that all depends. So is this going to be real quick question? Because like the difference, when I heard speed running, I thought of like it's like a Mario Maker level where it's like, okay, it takes you like 3 minutes to beat on average, but there are people out there that can somehow do it in 30 seconds. And I guess I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Is this to put some stank on it? Is that you can't? Can you literally not beat this game unless you top the previous time? So it'll be like you can't unlock the last cutscene unless you beat the previous time. Is that the mechanic we're playing with, or is like
That
you
sounds
can beat the
really.
game?
You know what? That sounds a little bit too black and white and a little bit too like uninspired. So what if I give you this? There is a constant time limit that you're always trying to beat. The constant time limit is, of course, the current world record. If you don't beat the world record and you don't make time, then you start losing points down
The game
to
uninstalls itself.
rank. Well, I think uninstalling itself, uninstalling just feels too simple. I want our players to want it. So I'm going to propose a ranking system. If players are close to the world record, they might be able to get like a B. They won't be getting Bs. They'll be getting Fs. They can play the game, but if they're not beating the time record or getting close, we're just going to insult them for being slow and bad at video games.
Get an F. And then if you get a world record, it doesn't tell you, it just gives you a D.
D for done.
D for done with this shit.
But what happens if somebody overtakes your level? Does that change your score then? It's like a score
you're
that's
able to move on to the next level.
Oh, okay.
But you still get a D.
I would also propose that if you get a D, you get you get the better cutscene of one of two cutscenes. There will be one cutscene where like they just like it's like 4 lines of dialogue and they put you in the next level. If you do manage to get a D, though, it's like a full visual novel. You're learning about this character's history, their estranged romance, the child that they have. You're learning everything.
Yeah.
And I think that this visual novel should have a lot of setup, but not answer that many questions about like the characters and stuff. So then it's implied that you can get better than a D, but you can't, and we're never going to correct anyone who thinks that.
It's all the larger stuff.
You
like,
can't actually get better than a D, but everybody
It's about the
thinks that you
chase.
can to unlock more of the story and characters and whatnot. But really, it just stops after D, and it raises a bunch of questions that don't have answers.
People will have to look up to find out that like the time they're trying to beat is the world record. Like that will never be in like the published information. It's just
They'll have to piece it together. Somebody will be like, I beat the game and it only took me 45 minutes to beat the game. And then somebody else is like, well, I beat it in 43 minutes and I didn't get anything for it. Said I got an F.
And what I love about this is like there's such a demand then that like the highest speed characters like or players like the top of the food chain would have to be engaged with the community in order for people to get any of these answers. The answers as to why they're getting no answers, of course, not the narrative answers.
We're gonna have
And
like
of course,
that one
I
guy
will
that
be
runs
I
the,
will be there, and I will get the highest score and keep it a secret from everyone.
Of course, you'll have the Game Shark, and you would have gotten
I'll
an
have the
early
Game
copy.
Shark. I'll have big head mode on, and I'll beat the game in 2 seconds. After I do that, we patch it out.
Yes, of course, yes. And then you leave the internet so no one can harass you for answers. The riddle starts forever.
So it's an entire game that nobody can even look at or even fathom in any way. It's all locked behind something that's impossible to do. This is great game design.
I think so. Well, like, you know what this is? This is callbacks to the game makers of yore that would have ridiculous and upright wrong ideas of how to get to the rest of the game, a la Castlevania 2, stand in this corner for 30 seconds and you can get the second half of the video game. Like, old games had weird, contrived ways to get the rest of it, and I think that we've
like to
lost that over time, and I want to get back to it. Yeah. I want to go back to having no saves and you having to write down passcodes and level codes on a piece of paper. The way games were meant to be played. Agonizingly.
I wonder, like, it's weird that doesn't exist anymore. Do you think that's because, like, people could just share the codes online?
Because it sucks shit and no one wants to do it. What do you mean, why isn't it there?
I don't know. Look, I've played, there's this one game that I played called Stories Untold, which was, like, a modern rendition of a, like, type adventure. Like, hey, there's a hallway in front of you. Do you go left or right? You have to type out, like, I go left, I go right. I think there is something, like, vintagely, like, cool and interesting about having, like, analog codes like that. I'm wondering, is that something you could lean into with this? Of like, hey, well, a lot of the time they would say, don't share your code. Is there a repercussion for sharing your code? Does that, like, oh, hey, you have this code, you unlocked it or whatever, and then you share it with somebody on the internet, guess what? Now your scores, they're deleted because that code was tied to your account. Oh, you're sharing it, can't fuck you, so it basically deletes all your progress, deletes all of your high score information. I'm wondering if, like, if that's what you could play.
A speed run game that would save your speed run stats to a serial code. And if you tried to share that serial code to another player, it would increase your stats or your numbers, then making your D run into an F run.
Well,
so I'm wondering. So basically, we're just being as antagonistic as possible here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's game design.
Do you have any ideas?
Oh yes, you're right. No, how about? Hey, I got an idea. How about if you fail the run, somebody just comes to your house and knocks your goddamn mailbox over? How about you have to enter your real life address to play, and if you lose, somebody comes to your house, knocks your mailbox over, and spray paints a cockatiel on your garage.
Yes, but they have to film it on TikTok so we can get it out as a prank, and no one can attack us legally.
Yes, exactly. If it's a prank, it's legally bulletproof.
You know what? I'm feeling really good about this particular game. And I'm ready to pick a nug.
How about if you win, we invite you to our office and then we push you down the stairs?
If you do manage to beat the 0.2 time record set by Joy, you can come get iceboxed by
We'll fly you out to the studio.
And we'll give you a big wedgie and call you a nerd. Wow, you played video games that long? Cringe.
What is wrong with you?
You did a speedrun? Yikes. All right. Of course,
AJ,
as we approach the end of our episode, we need to look at our video games and decide to ourselves which one of these do we think deserves to be published. Which one of these immaculate prototypes that we've created here do we think has a real shot at becoming the next AAA best-selling title? Now, I'm looking at my notes here, and I have Sonic Riders, but Joy cheats.
Okay.
I've got a racing murder
Didn't know
mystery.
that was one of them.
I've got a racing murder mystery where one racer is the murderer and everybody gets wacky racer type abilities to avoid being killed or to be killed by. I've got this brain nugget slurped straight out of Joy's youth of the 2-part party game murder combat game. And then I've got our speedrun punishment game. What are we feeling?
What about Godzilla Basketball?
Yeah,
I forgot about Godzilla Basketball.
I guess we know which one AJ doesn't think is a nug.
What are you two feeling for our nug? Joy, what are you feeling?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be narcissistic to vote for my own. I would say the Among Us Racer. I feel like Among Us Racer. I don't want to call it that though, because it's not Among Us. It's not Among Us. There's no such thing as Among Us.
So
it's not real.
Now, of course, we come to the bane of our show, the real pits of the show, the part of the show where people realize that perhaps we are talentless hacks. We got to find out a clever name for our murder mystery racer set in Sugar Rush, the video game from the movie Wreck-It Ralph, not based
Among
on
Us.
Candyland. What if we did
Well,
just
I
call
feel
this Sugar Rush?
Hey, AJ, we call it MPH, murders per hour, murder per hour, or something
That
like
doesn't
that.
get the sweet tooth in there,
spicy.
though.
Hang
Are
on,
we-
hang on,
are
hang
we
on. Let
okay
me
with
think.
that?
Let me think. Let me
Okay.
think.
Sugar burnout.
Are we attaching ourselves to the brand of the current existing Burnout racing game?
No,
Yeah,
big
you know what?
misconception.
Yes.
We
Hold on. I do love the burnout crash physics, is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Joy, you might be onto something immaculate. Could you imagine just crashing your car because you've been murdered and watching your vehicle just soar through the air of the Sugar Rush Wreck-It Ralph world, blasting through peppermint sticks and through the candy mud and the cocoa dunes?
And you just see the points climb after every, just like the slow motion crunching noises. You just hear the points going, just climbing and climbing. So
I gotta say the gears are still really turning for me. I'm still trying to really fucking think of something juicy.
I want to get the word cavity in there so bad, and I don't know
Oh
why.
shit! Ooh,
cavity, like I'm looking at like
How
a
do I
little
feel about
collection
Cavity
of
Cruise?
Cavity Cruise is good. Cavity Groove. There's Burnout, Drift, Accelerate, Kit, Loose.
Devil's Food Drift. Devil's Food Drift.
Devil's
No.
Devil's Food
maybe.
Drift is fucking
I'm
metal.
throwing it in there though. I'm throwing it in there.
What if we did this? One of us takes a word from like a violence, a murder, a kill type adjective or verb or something.
Sure.
One of us will take a sweet food type thing, something that makes us think of sweets, and the third one will take something that makes us think of cars and or racing. Is that all
Can I
three
do the
covered?
sweets one? Let me.
You
do
want
the
the sweets?
one.
Blake,
All right.
would you like the car or the violence?
I'll do the killy one.
Okay, let me think of a car thing.
Okay, I got mine.
All right,
I also have mine
we'll drop it
So-
on 0.
on 0.
Wait, what?
Okay.
On 0. 3, 2, 1.
Cake.
Third degree.
Rig.
Rig third degree cake.
Third degree cake. Cake in the third degree. Or third. I don't know.
Degree.
I don't know. Am I the one that made that difficult?
I got a name for it. Sonic Riders.
What? So- Sonic Riders, but with murder.
Sonic Riders, and then the subtitle. But he has a gun.
Fuck it. What if it's just Candyland? 2.
A Candyland.
How about this? Candyland Rush. Or Candyland Riders. Candyland Riders!
Candyland Riders. Hey, there we go.
We got there. Either we got there or we've been at it enough that we just want to put something here.
Mad Max Sugar Road.
Oh, wait a second. That's
That's
bitchin',
nothing.
actually.
That's nothing.
What
We're
are you
going with
talking
the- we're
about? What
going
are you
with the
talking
last
about?
one.
That's so good. Okay, let's go with the other one.
Which was, of course,
Sugarland, right? I already forgot it.
Sugarland
Candyland
Riders. Sugarland
Sugarland
Riders.
Riders.
Fuck,
Sugarland-
hey, fuck Candyland.
Sugarland.
Fuck Candyland. Candyland
Yeah,
sucks. It's Sugarland Riders.
all right, let's go to patch notes.
Let's go to patch notes.
So, Joy, this is generally the part where we will do all of our sign-offs and stuff. So for this sign-off, we will go ahead and have you do any plugs that you want to do.
Okay, sure. Once again, my name is Joy. If you want to see any of the funny time stuff that I do online on the internet, and for some reason nobody stopped me yet, you can find that at twitch.tv/MarbleCantus. That's the word marble and then Cantus. You can also find me on Twitter at the same @. I got a really big rebrand coming up. Got a whole bunch of cool new stuff to debut. And that'll be coming real soon. So I'm really excited about it. So yeah, consider checking it out if you want to.
And of
Joy,
course, I mentioned it before.
Oh.
Thank you so much for coming onto
Yeah.
the show and having fun with us. This has been an
Oh
absolute
yeah,
treat.
no, this was so much fun. If you ever want me back, let me know. I'd be happy to join again.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
As always, our intro and outro music is Cheap Shot by Anamanaguchi, an excellent song from an excellent band for an excellent game. Joy, at the end of this, when it feels like there's been too much quiet time, if you want to take out the final sign-off for the show, the final line is, "That should not be made."
Okay, so should I say that right now?
No, not right now. There's going to be an awkward silence.
That
after-
should not be made.
That's it. Bye.
Bye.